Hey everybody, it's Monday. It's Jim. It's Amadeus, and you know, Amadeus, hardly anything to talk about today. I mean, it was a really uneventful weekend. Hardly anything happened in college football and in the NFL. So, it's one of those Mondays where it's hard to figure out what to talk about. I mean, it's when I texted you that Alabama won, that I thought they were going to be in the Final Four. What I didn't factor in was that Florida State was going to get left out.
Yeah, it was definitely a wild selection day yesterday. Obviously they couldn't justify keeping Texas out, but Bama
Right.
in. So we had to get this scenario where Florida State's been left out. But I don't know. It's a bit of a ridiculous. This is why it's the invitational. They felt that your season didn't matter. You're not good enough without your quarterback, even though you know Georgia won the last two. They won the national championship the last 2 years. They didn't have a quarterback, and don't sit there and try to tell me Stetson Bennett's a real quarterback. And they had to shoehorn Alabama in, but Alabama doesn't really have a quarterback either. I don't really care what you want to say about Jalen Milroe. He is not a legitimate quarterback. So
Well, let's take that one step further. They were a 4th and 31 away from not being there. Okay, that miracle, you know, uh, put them in the conversation. Booger McFarland, who has never been shy about sharing his insights, as Kirk Herbstreit and the ESPN gang, held their, well, this is the way it has to be. It's the eye test. We finally got to a point where the eye test came in, and Florida State doesn't have a quarterback, and Booger stopped and goes, wait a minute. So you're telling me that just because a team wins with defense and doesn't win, doesn't get style points, they shouldn't be in the car. Because why do they play the games? He said, "What's the sense? What's the sense of playing if you're going to get left out and you've won every game you played?" And so, it was funny because Curve Street goes, "Well, they played the 55th toughest schedule." He goes, "It's the only schedule they had to play."
yeah,
He said,
that's the
"Can they
thing.
help it that Clemson had a terrible season?" He goes, "No." He goes, "Can they help it?" He goes, "Look, Georgia and North Carolina." He goes, "They weren't bad teams." Or not, I'm sorry, North Carolina, Duke, and he was saying, he's like, "Look, there were teams in there that were decent football teams in the ACC." But he said,
Yeah.
it is what it was, right?
Well, what about their win over LSU? That's an SEC team. Obviously, that one
Yeah,
meant nothing. So they're like, why even play? Why even schedule LSU if you're still going to
right.
get left out at the end of the day?
Yeah, and that was the funny part of it, right? The thing was that FSU, played everybody. They beat Florida. Okay, that's an SEC team. They won against, and here's the funny stuff, right? Florida averaged 28, almost 28 points a game. Okay, and they shut them down. Louisville had one of the best offenses in not just the ACC but in college football. They were averaging close to 30 points a game, and they shut them down. So all right, fine. You want to go that route? What's to say? And the number two quarterback was concussed in the game, against Florida, so he couldn't play. So they started the freshman, in the championship game. What's to say with a month, which is what you have, a month of opportunity? What's to say that they couldn't have, made it? There's Jerry. How you doing? It seems to me if you have a backup quarterback and you've been playing in a conference championship, you automatically be become a lesser team. Jerry, I understand what you're saying. I understand your point. Okay, but here's where I disagree with that. Okay, how did TCU get in there last year? Okay? They got in there because the argument was TCU belonged, even though TCU's schedule was inferior to the other three teams. Everything about TCU pointed that they shouldn't be there. But they got there, okay? And that was the Alabama team that got left out. Now you can say, well, gosh, look at how bad they got beat in the championship game. True, absolutely true. But they beat Michigan to get there. So, no. I'm sorry, Jerry. FSU deserved to be in there. Whether you want, if you want to take Texas over Alabama, fine. If you want to take Alabama over Texas and say screw it, I don't care. Because Texas lost to Oklahoma. Okay, so you want to argue that point? We can argue. But next year, and the funny thing is to all of this, guys, had they not been petty, and I'm talking about the Power 4, 5 conferences, and bitching about this whole thing, this was the year that the 12-team conference, the 12-team playoff was supposed to start. So you got Georgia playing FSU in the Orange Bowl game, and those two teams have argument to be. Georgia's the first number one team to have lost a game and not been in the final. They lost the championship game and didn't get into the final, and that was the only game they lost. So you could make Georgia has an argument. Everybody has an argument to be there, and the conference, you want to disregard the ACC, fine, but you penalized Florida State for basically winning all their games. So as Amadeus says, it's an invitational. It's not a true title situation. It's a made-for-TV event for right now.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a very good point just with the ACC championship game. Yeah. Florida State didn't look great on offense. They barely scraped by Louisville, but their defense won that game. And as you said, Louisville, one of the best offenses in the country. We're talking about a team that was ranked in the top 10 coming into the championship game. Louisville, right. They were what, 10th best in the country? But yeah, that win doesn't mean anything, even though the defense suffocated them. But then, you look at Michigan's game, which, by the way, cashed that win to 26-0. But
I was going to say, you said on Friday, Iowa will not score a point. And you kept saying that you were going to play soccer on that one. Win to 0. 26-0, my friend. You were right on that.
But my point with that game is, did Michigan dominate Iowa? The 26-0 isn't a good score. They scored a touchdown in that game and field goaled their way to win. Their defense won that game against Iowa. Now, you give me the same excuse, Iowa's got one of the best defenses in the country, though. They're a ranked team. Well, guess what? Louisville was a higher ranked team. And even
with a better offense.
Yeah, even though their defense wasn't as good, they had one of the better offenses in the country. Mm-hmm. But that win meant nothing. But, Michigan rolled Iowa. They didn't really roll them. That was a sketchy game. Yeah. They were, 21.5-point favorite? They barely covered that. They needed to field goal their way to cover that at the end of the game.
Right. Well, and the other point to this, from a standpoint of whining from you were, like I said, if you left out Texas, they were going to whine. If you left off an SEC team, God forbid. There hasn't been, from a BCS championship to a CFP championship, there hasn't been an SEC team that has been left out. So, if you wanted to make the point, well, we had to put Texas in because they beat Alabama and Alabama beat Georgia, so we can't put an SEC team in there, then fine. But, they had to put an SEC team in there. No, you're right, Jerry. I that's the point. The point is that Alabama shouldn't have been there. That should have been Texas, and it should have been, if they're going to go with head-to-head, right? Texas beat Alabama, so fine. Texas should have been there, and Alabama should have been out, and Georgia should have been out, and FSU should have been there. Now, you can argue whether FSU could have beat Alabama or Texas, but at the end of the day, both of them are, both of them had one loss. Florida State didn't. And that's the first time, which is the last of the four, the playoff format for four. This is the first time they actually used that eye test. And I will argue to my dying day that the reason they did it was A, to get an SEC team in there, and B, to get Texas in there, because Texas, Michigan, Alabama are your blue bloods. FSU's got as strong a fan base nationally as Texas, probably even more. Texas hasn't won anything since in the 90s. It was Vince Young when the last time they won a national championship.
Hey, good friend of the show, Ryan Cape up in Philadelphia, is a Florida State fan. So
that's right.
All you need to know.
That's right. We won't talk about Ryan and his Eagles yesterday now, but
they're all
we'll
over
get
the
to
place,
that.
These Florida State fans. Like, come on. Don't tell me they're not a big enough school to be in there. Like, it's finally been exposed, the invitational that it is.
That's true, Jerry. That's a very good point. SMU had a backup quarterback playing. They handily beat Tulane. Tulane was a fantastic team. And by the way, SMU, you could make an argument that they deserved that New Year's Six game. They didn't get it. It goes to Liberty. Now, you can make the argument that Liberty went 13-0, right? So what happened? What's the argument there? The argument is, I'm sorry, SMU lost during the season. So, doesn't matter they won the championship game. Liberty was undefeated. Oh, okay. Well, there's there's the the whole situation of I just
it's the hypocrisy, right?
Yeah, I mean hypocrisy, and I truly felt bad, and I do look FSU. I'm a bit I've got good relationships, had many good relationships with the folks at FSU. The SEC paid me for years, so I don't have any grief with them either, as did the Big Ten. But at the end of the day, the SEC didn't deserve to have a team in the Final Four, and they didn't have the guts to pull it on that. That's that is what it is. If you look at, let's take a quick look at the final poll of the Associated Press. Michigan was number one. They deserve that. We think Washington's better. We'll find out. So Michigan and Washington, both 13-0, 1-2. Texas got into the 3 spot at 12-1. They had their they had that coming out party that they had against Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State looked flat in that game. Florida State in the AP poll finished 4th because they were undefeated. Alabama 5th, Georgia 6th, by the way. Ohio State 7, Oregon 8. I still think Oregon with 2 losses is better than Ohio State.
Yep.
They might even
lost
be better.
To the same team.
Right, they're better than Georgia, so I would have put them in 6th, but that's me. Missouri finished the season at 10-2, in the 9th spot. Penn State. Let's go back real quick. Georgia will play Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Ohio State will play Missouri. That game coming up. Oregon gets Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. I'll tell you what right now. I would hate to be Liberty going up against Oregon in that Fiesta Bowl, as pissed off as Dan Lanning is going to be.
Oregon in that game, though.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. We said Missouri, number 9, is going to take on Ohio State. Penn State gets Ole Miss, in which is 10. Ole Miss is 11. Oklahoma gets again. Here's this could be an interesting game. Oklahoma is going to take on Arizona. That's going to be a good bowl game. Um, that should be very good. I think we both love Arizona. It's going to be fun to see them play Oklahoma. Wisconsin gets the 13th ranked team in the country. That's LSU. Um, so not for nothing, FSU beat the 13th ranked team in the country. Notre Dame gets Oregon State. Talk about who's going to play for them. Who's going to play for Oregon State? No idea. Louisville finished the season at 10-3. They will get. I don't know. Jeez, I don't know how this works out. They get SC in that game. Okay. SMU gets Boston College in their bowl game. They're number 17. We talked about Liberty getting Oregon. They're 18. North Texas State gets Kansas State. That sounds about right. 19. Iowa. Okay. The team that finishes first in the West of the Big Ten is ranked 20th. They're going to take on Tennessee. Oregon State, the Beavers. Get Notre. Yeah, we did say that. They got Notre Dame. Or Oklahoma State, who got crushed in the Big 12 final championship game. It's Texas A&M. Okay, wonder who's going to coach them during the bowl game. Tulane, who finished 11-2 in the American Athletic Conference, gets Virginia Tech. James Madison gets a bowl game. They're going to play Air Force. They're the 24th best team in the country. And Tennessee gets Iowa. I think we mentioned that. That's going to be, and they're the 25th best team. We said the Mustangs of SMU gets Boston College. So, okay, so wait a minute. Just a quick second here. Liberty finishes 18th and gets the New Year's 6th day game. And SMU finishes 17th, and they don't. So, what are you going to do, boys and girls?
SMU, they lost 4 games though. It's
Yeah,
not
they
like
did.
they lost like one. They
Right,
lost 4 games. So I
right.
say it should go to Liberty because they won their conference
Yeah.
championship. They won. They went undefeated. They
But
should be ranked higher than SMU.
okay, so you're using logic because that's the same logic that would have gotten
It's
Florida State
something the committee
in
doesn't use.
right. That would have gotten Florida State in the title, but they
That's where the
didn't.
hypocrisy comes in, Jim.
Right,
That's where the
exactly.
hypocrisy creeps in.
It's let's if you don't want them in, just say it. Just have the
Yeah.
guts to say it.
And,
But
and once again, if you're going to give me the excuse like, oh, well, they don't have a quarterback, well, then Alabama shouldn't be there. Why is Alabama in there? They don't have a quarterback.
with all due respect to the college football playoff group, Bill Hancock, who I know and respect, a little less today than I have in the past, but know and respect. Um, you know, I just Alabama. Alabama only beat my South Florida Bulls by 14 points, 17-3. They're headed, by the way, to the Boca Raton Bowl to play Syracuse. So the Orange and the Bulls will face each other in one of the coolest stadiums, by the way, in all of college football. It is. How'd you like to have a stadium that's on the Atlantic Ocean? That's not a bad place to play. You look out on the ocean and you get to see the boats and all that fun stuff as you're playing the game. But anyway, so there you go. Um, Anything else about the weekend in college football that is worth a conversation?
For college football, I mean, I think we hit it on the head. That was pretty much the obviously the big controversy with Florida State not getting in, and I don't know if there's anything else to say about it. I mean, we both think Florida State probably should have
Right.
been in there.
What's the early lines? Because I imagine the Alabama, Alabama's probably favored against Michigan.
No, but they will be soon, Jim. I think Michigan opened as a 2.5 favorite, and now
Yeah.
it's down to one. Yeah, 1.5 for Michigan. So, give it a month. We got what, a month till these
Oh yeah,
games.
at
Alabama will
least.
be favored by kickoff, I think,
Hmm.
and then same with this Texas game. They opened at 4. It's fluctuated between 4 and 4.5. Texas is the 4-point favorite.
Texas is a favorite over. Evidently, they have not watched
No,
Washington like we
nobody
have.
respects our Washington, man. Everybody just looks at them and say, well, they played like crap in their 6 games. They find ways to win games. I don't know what else to say about them. They find ways to win games, and that's what great teams do. When their offense doesn't work, the defense shows up. When the
Jeez,
defense isn't working, the offense is there to bail them out.
look, both of us on Friday, and all right, maybe I can't remember whether you said it or not, so I'm not gonna speak for you. I said it. I thought honestly, I thought Oregon was gonna go in and beat Washington in a close game. We both said it was going to be a close game. So look, when Washington won the game, I'm like, all right, good for them. I mean, they put their money where their mouth was. Penix played a hell of a game. So did so did Bo Nix. I mean, both quarterbacks balled out, so that wasn't the problem. It was an entertaining football game, and it went down to they had 2 games that were Oregon lost 2 games to the same team as you pointed out. It happens to be the number 2 team in the country by a total of 6 points.
And that's why I still think even with 2 losses, Oregon
Mm-hmm.
should be in the playoff. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
ask me, Oregon's better. They're better than Michigan. They would beat them. They would whoop Texas and Alabama's ass.
Right.
So that's the thing is you lost to the best team in the country twice, and they're just better than you. And we're gonna see
By
in these
3 points
playoffs.
twice. By
Okay,
3 points twice.
exactly, and we'll see. Whenever the whenever we see who's hosting the national
Mm-hmm.
championship in January, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have a feeling it's going to be a blue team that's lifting that one, and it's not the one over on the East Coast here,
It's not the maize and blue.
or purple. I guess you could. If
It's
you want to
purple.
call it
Yeah, it's purple.
Purple. My bad.
It's all right.
But,
It's dark. It's a dark color.
But yeah, absolutely. We were. I've been riding this Washington team all year. I know you've been with me. I
Yeah.
was with you the last few weeks. I thought Oregon was going to edge them out in that game.
Yeah.
Now I was all over the Washington plus 9.5, and was I shocked?
Well, that we both said that. We both said
Yeah.
that 9 points was way too many points to give them on
Yeah.
that.
And was I shocked when I cashed my Washington money line bet? Because I put some on the money line too.
Right. Sure.
No, what shocked me actually was how out of reach that game was for Oregon most of the time.
Yeah.
Washington had a double-digit lead, and it was one of those things where, Oregon, I think they came back once in the game and took the lead after
Yeah.
being down 20-3, but that didn't last for very long because then Washington went right back up by 2 scores,
Mm-hmm.
34-24, and then again, Oregon had to come back. But yeah, Washington dominated that game. That's the part that shocked me, was how
Yeah.
dominant they were. And it just goes to show you the reason why they looked so bad in their last 5-6 games this season is because they were bored with who they were playing. But
Mhm.
when you see them play Oregon, you see them bring their best effort. They get up for the good teams. And
Right.
they're gonna get up for these next 2 games they're playing in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and they did look. They also they didn't do them any favors. All right. They have to play. They have to play against Texas in New Orleans. All right, at the Sugar Bowl. That's not doing them any favors whatsoever. Because last time I checked, Texas is a lot closer to Louisiana than Washington is, and Washington will not get the Michigan goes to Pasadena, where they'll play against Alabama in the Rose Bowl. So
Yeah, they did it on purpose because Washington should have been the #1 team in the country, but
yeah, but they're not going to get there. So
yeah, can't have home advantage in Pasadena against Alabama.
no, that's Alabama travels well, so they'll have a good group out there, and you know we know Michigan travels, and so that they'll sell out the place, and we know for damn sure that that the Sugar Bowl is going to get sold out. So that's New Orleans and Pasadena are going to be where the playoffs are, and then of course the national championship game is going to be held in Houston. So there you go. All right, let's slide over to the NFL yesterday, where there was some absolutely dog football games. There were some good ones, but there were some dog games too. By the way, the Chargers the Chargers and the Patriots. Okay, the Chargers go to Foxborough and beat the Patriots 6-0.
Yeah, I think they get the award for most depressing game of the day. I don't know what that
Ah,
was. Like 6-0. That could be a hockey game. That could be a baseball game. Definitely ain't a football final score, but you've got a few different sports that one could be.
yeah, Blake Snell shut out the Patriots in a 6-0 game in Foxborough. Yeah, that actually, to be honest, the Red Sox probably would have scored more points than the Patriots in that game.
Yeah.
Dog game number 2, the Falcons and the Jets fumbled the ball over each other yesterday. That was a cluster of clusters. So there you go. Good on Joe Flacco. He came back and he didn't do a bad. The Rams won the game 36-19, but good on Joe for playing a solid football game. He hadn't played much at all in the last 3 years, and he came out there and balled out. Good on your Cardinals. They went into Pittsburgh and despite 2 weather delays, came out 24-10 winners in that game.
Yeah, shocking.
The Texans, held off the Broncos 22-17. We had an overtime game, which was somewhat entertaining. And
No, it wasn't, Jim. I was on the
okay.
Titans. It was not entertaining.
All right. Well, we will not be speaking of that game. We'll let that
And
one
we
go.
scored first in the overtime and still lost.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but then they gave up a touch. It's like, oof. The Saints lost to the Lions. Detroit looked good in that one, 33-28 in a defense optional game. The Dolphins just beat Washington like they stole something, 45-15.
Yeah, the Commanders have given up, right? That's got to be like them giving up on the season.
Well, here's what when you're in trouble. Okay, when the lead story of the game in Washington in the Washington Post is the commitment by ownership to invest $70 million in stadium upgrades for the 2024 season. And oh, by the way, the
Already
Dolphins.
looking at next year.
Then oh, by the way, the Dolphins beat the Commanders 45-50. So
Already looking towards the next year.
yeah, they're looking. They're talking about how they're going to spiff the stadium up for next season. So it is
Sounds
what
like
it
an
is.
off-season article.
Right, already. The Buccaneers beat the Panthers 21-18, or I'm sorry, 21 to yeah, no, it's 21-18. It looked like a 6 there. It
I know, right?
Baker Mayfield comes
you don't
through.
Think 18.
Well, it looked like, I'm sorry, it just on the screen it looked like a 6. I couldn't tell if it was a 16 or 18.
Well, I mean, hey, 18 is not a football score. I don't
Yeah,
know how you
it's
get to
odd.
18. 6
I don't
field
know.
goals.
Maybe. So the Panthers didn't look too good in that. Mike. So Evans came in there and I think now did he set it? He either tied or set a record for the most consecutive 1,000-yard receiving games. So Mike Evans, congratulations to you, my friend.
Yeah, he's got
Uh,
10 seasons now.
the Eagles in the game of the day in a rainstorm in South Philly found out how good the 49ers really are.
I was
42 to
waiting for this one
19.
all year.
Eh,
Every time someone said to me, I think we can all agree the Eagles are the best team in the NFL, I was just waiting for this week, Jim.
You
Just
have been,
waiting for this week.
you've been strong on the Niners.
In Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
42-19.
South Philly.
In Philadelphia.
They walked in and
Now,
took the cheesesteak.
they almost lost to Buffalo at home the week before.
Mm-hmm.
Now they go to Dallas for a divisional matchup. We're going to find out what you're made of, Eagles. We're going to find out what you are in the next few weeks.
Probably Jalen Hurts' first really, really bad game in a while. He didn't look good at all yesterday. And anyone who wanted to pronounce Brock Purdy dead as a quarterback might want to take that video and take a look at it from yesterday.
They had this one circled.
Yeah, this one was a good one for him. Well, it was good to see Taylor Swift back in on the traveling squad with the Chiefs. Didn't help. The Packers beat them, and we kind of mentioned that the other day. We said, the Chiefs going to Green Bay playing Lambeau, Packers playing good. Maybe. You never know.
Is Taylor Swift more publicity or becoming more of a distraction now?
Well, she's not a distraction to the Chiefs.
To Travis Kelce, she might be.
She might. She might
not
be,
having
but
a great season at all.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't have any other receivers they can catch other than Travis Kelce. So
when Rashee Rice is your number one wide receiver,
you're in trouble. That's like having me as your best wide receiver. You got lots of problems there, boys and girls. Okay, tonight. This has got a chance of being a pretty decent little game. The Jaguars and the Bengals. It is a do or die for the Bengals. It's if the Jaguars can pull off a win at home over the Bengals, that really solidifies their spot in the south of the AFC.
Yeah, this is a huge game, especially with the Colts win. Now they got the Texans and the Colts up their ass, so they gotta win this game to keep their 2-game lead in that division.
Yep, and the Bengals, if the Bengals don't get right, then they're in trouble because they've, this has been traditionally December has been the Bengals' month. I don't think it's going to be their month this year.
Yeah, I think with the Burrow injury, you're going to start seeing stadium upgrade articles coming out of Cincinnati sooner or later.
It's like, by the way, just like the Commanders, we're really looking to or Cincinnati Reds off-season moves. Start getting because this week, we know it. This was the week when is the baseball winter meetings. So we may or may not, because you never know. We may or may not find out what happens with Ohtani and what's going on there. And once again, I got a nice text message from one of my buddies in San Francisco. Jerry's been talking, and we haven't been doing that. SMU, they only lost 2.
My bad, Jerry. I said 4.
Both to the Power 5 schools, which is right. And look, Jerry, SMU, good on them, and good for them, because next year they'll be part of the ACC, and I'll tell you what, SMU coming to the ACC, Cal coming to the ACC, Stanford coming to the ACC, I think those 3 teams are going to make the conference better. I really do. If you look at what Cal did this year, and they had they ended up becoming bowl eligible there. I don't think many people thought Cal was going to have a bowl eligible team. Stanford has a hell of a new, of a class coming in which would be good for them. And SMU is, I don't see that SMU is going to fall off either. So I think that's those three teams are going to really have a very very interesting season in the ACC, which is good for the conference, and you know we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, it'll be fun to be sure. So we were talking a minute about the baseball winter meetings, and let's see. What's the latest odds on where Otani's gonna go?
Let me just check quickly for that. Let's see. Oh my gosh. The LA Dodgers are minus 200, and the Toronto Blue Jays are the second place team at plus
Well, you said that
275.
last week.
Yeah, because Toronto was chasing him like a bunch of mad people. But like, if he comes to Toronto, then I just feel sorry for Otani at that point.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but this Jays team is just constantly they underperform. If you want to win if you want to win a title, this is not the place to come. Plus, the league hates us; they won't let us win another title.
Well, this is Joel Sherman is one. If you don't follow Joel Sherman, folks, and you don't know who Joel Sherman is, he's the baseball writer for the New York. Probably one of the most, he, John Heyman, Kenny. Why am I forgetting Kenny's last name? I've only known him half his life. Kenny Rosenberg. Those are three guys who you need to follow because they will tell you what's going on in baseball. And one of the things, that's going out there, we talked about this before. The Padres are definitely dealing Juan Soto. They got that one last year on him, and they absolutely are looking to deal him. So if you've got what they are going to ask for, we'll see. Washington got a hefty, take on Soto, but that was, if you remember, Soto had 3 years left on his deal. So, I don't think they're going to get the kind of, bounty that Washington pulled when they traded Juan. But look, Juan had a bad year, but the kid's worth going after. I don't know where he lands, but it'd be interesting to find out. Some people are talking that Otani might become the first $600 million man. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think that's too much. The Yankees have been very aggressive in talks with Juan Soto. I'm sorry, with the Padres about Juan Soto. I don't think the Yankees have enough juice to pull that one off. I just don't think they have enough in the way of trade pieces to make that work. But stranger things have happened. But so, what do you think on Otani? Do you think he's going to take a big contract, or do you think he's going to take a short-term contract? And kind of because the knock at the moment on him is Otani's problem. And it's not a problem. It's just one of those we don't know yet. That we don't. What we don't know yet is Otani. How his injury, the off-season rotator cuff injury is going to, Tommy John injury is going to hurt his pitching abilities.
Yeah, I think he'll probably get the big contract because the Dodgers are favored to get him, and that'll probably be the thing that distinguishes them from the rest is they'll be willing to cough out the money in the contract.
Which they can. They definitely can. Speaking of Japanese players, Yoshimoto Yomoto, how about that, folks, is the sweepstakes for him, they say, is getting out of control. And, he's a legit top of the rotation pitcher. But, he's like Hugh Darvish when Darvish was young and came into the fold. The New York teams are in on him all over him. According to Jeff Passan, Friday, that they're not talking to anybody until somebody ponies the floor on him is going to be $200 million.
Wow.
So if you want to sign that 25-year-old pitcher, I'm guessing it's going to take you in that 250, 260 range to get him. That's a lot of money, boys and girls.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
And, you can talk about this. They have to, whoever signs him, that's the 250 or 260, all right, is where, where that goes to him. But there's still there's a posting fee of between $39 and $40 million that has to go to his team in Japan.
Oh, wow. What?
So let's say you lay out, let's say somebody gets him signs him for a deal of $250 million over 5 years, okay? There's another $40 million you got to pay to, Onyx, which is the team in Japan and where he pitched.
Well,
so
I don't know about that one, but
it's he could end up, if you think about it, right, the second highest paid free agent in this class of free agents to Ohtani, and the highest paid pitcher behind just Garrett Cole.
Wow.
Because I don't think anybody's pushing. Nobody's going to throw $310 million at him. Nobody should have thrown $310 million at Garrett Cole, but they did.
Yeah.
So that's. Tanaka, who was a Japanese Cy Young Award winner. Tanaka signed a 7-year, $155 million year deal with the Yankees a decade ago. And that was with a $20 million posting fee. So I don't know. It's a lot of money. Whoever's going to put the money up for that, and Ohtani's contract. Would I be surprised to see him? Surprised to see him sign for $600 million? Yes. Would I be surprised to see him sign for, $500 million? No, probably not. Probably not. The Dodgers are, get this, the Dodgers are also in on the Yakimoto conversation, as are the Red Sox, the Cubs, and the Giants. On the outside looking in, which means that they might be in there, is I guess Rye Cope's on the phone to them at the moment, was from Philadelphia, and surprisingly, I say that because they don't usually spend money, is Arizona. So there you
I
go.
guess we'll see what happens then.
Some hot stove information out there right now. One other thing before we get out of here, just just for just for giggles, in an interview over the weekend, Lionel Messi, who we all know, is the man who everybody in the MLS is counting on to help them, get to the promised land in getting all kinds of interesting things done. Um, in an interview, said that the MLS is a minor league soccer.
He's not
Uh,
wrong.
I didn't say he was wrong. I'm just I'm just saying, you expect a guy who is kind of the face of the league would be less than you know would be less than I mean it would be more diplomatic, I guess would be the way of putting it. Um, that that's just the way it is. By the way, um, his deal with uh, with the MLS that we talked about includes a cut of season pass subscriptions by Apple, as well as some merchandising deal from Adidas. Those two deals alone are netting him $60 million.
Wow. Well, yeah, I think he doesn't really care about the league. He's just there because he wants to be there.
Well, he, I think you're right. I think that some of it too is um, that he, when you get to be a star of his caliber, you don't really need to care what you think, what you say, because people are going to still go and watch him play. You
Yeah.
know, so I don't think that you know if he didn't, if it was a minor league, um, if it was minor league and he wasn't coming back, that would be one thing. But he said it and he's coming back, so that just means that he's willing to play minor league soccer to get paid. Um, which there seems to be a lot of people looking at that possibility. So we'll see. But I just thought that was kind of a unique and kind of fun little drip and drab on what's going on. Not much going on this week. It's going to be we may have more to talk about on Major League Baseball from the winter meetings, if they're if they are they can be fun. Winter meetings can if there's signings. I don't expect to see any big signings there. It's possible, for instance, the trade deals. Sometimes they come together, sometimes they don't. Oftentimes they'll talk about the trades during the. You'll find out. You'll gauge what a player's, what team's interests are in a player. But I don't expect the other stuff to come out anytime soon. I think that'll be something we'll learn as the news comes out. But um, I don't think that we're going to see, for instance, like a Juan Soto get traded during the the winter meetings. It's possible, but I just don't see that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see a guy like Cody Bellinger signed, something like that. But uh, to make a deal with an Otani or somebody like that, that takes a long time and a lot of working, and I don't see that. Did you mention Scott Boras was his manager? I mean, his agent. Is that what you said?
No, I think that was Juan Soto.
No, Juan Soto is Scott Boras. So
Yeah.
he, what Scott will probably do is try to steer the trade to a team that's going to sign him. I don't think he wants to. They may trade him to somebody for as for a year that be a loaner. But if I'm trading for Juan Soto, I don't want to trade for a year. That doesn't do me any good. and
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
we'll see. All right. Any last words here on a Monday before we get out of here? Other than, of course, by the way, uh, you should be. He told you. He told you that Iowa was not going to score on Michigan, and what happened? Iowa didn't score on Michigan. He told you not to take not to lay 9 points on you know on Oregon in the Washington game because it was going to be a close game. It was a close game. The man knows what he's talking about. Pay attention to him, ladies and gentlemen. His information is in the show box below. And where else can we get in touch with you, Mr. Amadeus?
Yeah, make sure you check out my premium plays at bigowl.com and picadvisor.com and theinsidersroom.com. I don't have much up for tonight, just 2 soccer plays as well as a college basketball and an NBA play. But leave everybody with a free play right here. Florida State might have got screwed out of the college football playoff, but you can go ahead and hammer Florida State in the national championship tonight for the women's college soccer finals.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they may be taking home a trophy in that game too.
You're gonna whoop Stanford's ass tonight.
Okay, it's ironically it's a Pac-10 ACC game or Pac-12 ACC game, but next year those will be 2 ACC teams.
Yeah.
So there you go. So all right, they're playing tonight. Okay, good. The Lady Seminoles. Let's see how they do. And so there you go. There's your free call for the night. All right, guys. All right. Well, it's been fun. The bitching season about FSU and others that just started. We threw out the first pitch for that season today. There'll be all kinds of ramifications from it and sidebar stories and all that kind of fun stuff. And so we got plenty of time. Bowl season begins soon. We'll see if we can get Jack Keeley again here to talk about the bowls and see where things are going. But yeah, it won't be long. The next week I think is the first. No, I'm sorry. The week after next is the first bowl game. So we're coming close. It'll be soon. And there you go. And some good college basketball coming down the pike, too. So all kinds of fun stuff over the next few weeks. Stay with us. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Have a great day. Jerry, thanks for dropping by. We always appreciate you enjoying some time with us. And we enjoy some times with you. So y'all have a good day, everybody. Thanks to Amadeus. And we'll be back tomorrow, too.